Back up on the High Line again. Summertime in New York City. Happy 4th of July, everybody. It's a beautiful day. And back, one of my favorite New York City spots, the High Line. I've spoken about it before. Been up here in the past. The High Line is it's an elevated train track or whatever that was converted 20 years ago into a park, and now it's apparently time to organize. Actually, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because Robert David Steele's #fake lawsuit is about to get real. And people who've been watching Crowdsource the Truth for a while are aware that Robert David Steele is a liar and claims to be an ex-CIA agent. He may be telling the truth about that. But the problem with someone who persistently lies is that you don't know when they're telling the truth. And frankly, you really can't take anything that they say as being the truth. Robert David Steele is lying to you right now. There's a post on his website that says that the federal judge has denied all motions brought by Goodman and Negron. This is categorically untrue, contradictory to fact. It is a lie to make that statement. People can check the court docket. People can check Robert's website. He's lying about that. He's lied about many things. He lied about being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And when you lie to boastal your credentials, your reputation, your resume, and you couple that with an effort to entice people to contribute, to donate to a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, tax exempt, that's charity fraud. That's fraud. You can't lie to people to convince them to do things. It's fraud. So when I call Robert David Steele a fraud, I'm talking about his multiple and persistent acts of lying and committing fraud. So the reason why this #fake lawsuit is now getting real is that the judge has finally issued an order for us all to appear for a preliminary status hearing and discuss what will happen next in the case. There have been a lot of pleadings back and forth so far, filled with lies from Robert David Steele and his frequently sanctioned attorney, Stephen Biss. Stephen Biss, who lost his law license for a year for participating in a $21 million financial fraud. Do you realize what would happen to any of you viewers out there if you committed fraud to try to defraud someone of $21 million? You'd be very likely to go to jail for a long time. Mr. Biss was just sanctioned by the Virginia Bar Association, lost his license, didn't feel that that meant much, didn't feel that he had to adhere to their rulings or abide by the guidelines of the penalty. He felt it was okay for him to continue practicing law, negotiating with an insurance company for a personal injury case. Who takes personal injury cases? Oh yes, ambulance chasers. So we'll see what happens in this court case, but it is getting real. And I haven't been speaking about it very much. I've dubbed it a fake lawsuit, not because I don't respect the power of federal courts. People like Susan Lutsky Holmes do that. They don't show up for their court cases. They don't, well, there has been no call for her to show up yet, but she's avoided service. We don't know. Is her name Holmes? Is it Lutsky? Is it Tut? Is this a fabricated identity entirely? You know, there's another person with a coincidentally almost identical name to Robert David Steele's lawyer, but he spells his first name with a PH, Stephen. Yeah, that guy got tangled up in a case against the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And he also avoided service, and he also never showed up and got a default judgment against him. I just wonder where all these odd identities are coming from and going to. We know that lawyers engage in creating shell corporations. Stephen Biss has done that quite a bit. Is there such a thing as a shell identity? Can people create false identities? Why would someone do that? Well, we can look to the case of Susan Holmes Lutsky Tutt, and we can see that by having a false or unknown or confusing identity, you can create a lot of havoc. You can go around telling lies, making unfounded statements, accusing people of rape, accusing people of underage, whatever, you know? And there's no repercussion, because if nobody knows who you are or where to serve you, you can't be sued for defamation. You can't be held accountable if you're involved in a criminal conspiracy. Interesting. Would that be a motivation for creating this fake or dubious or confusing identity, or perhaps co-opting a conveniently, coincidentally similar identity? I don't know. Don't know. But these guys are social engineers. They engage in social engineering campaigns that are intended to confuse you, to make you not know what the truth is, so that you believe a liar and disbelieve someone who's actually telling the truth. So we're going to find out a lot during this court case. I wanted to let everybody know that even though I've been defending myself for the past 2 years pro se, I've avoided hiring a lawyer. This is about to get very expensive for me. It already has been, incidentally. I mean, you know, these guys are hitting me with document a day, sometimes more. And they're doing this because it creates a need for me to have to respond. I can't ignore things they're filing in the federal court, or like Susan Lutsky and Stephen Biss in upstate New York, that results in default judgments. If you don't answer, there is a default judgment, and then that person has a judgment against you. They can go and try to collect money against your assets, against your income, that sort of thing. So it seems clear to me that that's what this fake lawsuit based on fake allegations, false claims, and lies, that makes it fake. It's real that it's been filed, but, you know, we've heard about fake boobs, right? They're real, they're inside a person, they exist, but they're fake, just like this lawsuit. Robert David Steele is the fake boob of lawsuits. Oh, he's going to be insulted by that. Well, here's the other problem. When you're a public figure and you go on InfoWars and tell Alex Jones that we believe there's a Martian slave colony, that NASA has children on Mars, you open yourself up to the criticism of being called an idiot. And that's freedom of speech. This is interesting. So this is a pretty new addition to the Hudson Yards here. I don't know if people have seen, this thing is called like the Verge, or the, what is this thing called? The Wedge, I forget the name of this. This is a new building. I think it's basically just a stairway that you can walk up. Pretty interesting addition. This whole Hudson Yards neighborhood is pretty new and has been evolving. New kind of tourist thing here for people to enjoy in New York. So if you find yourself in New York sometime soon, perhaps you want to come to the Hudson Yard. Yeah, this fake lawsuit, I'm going to need your support. Because you see, right now, Crowdsource the Truth, it just earns me the bare minimum to keep going. And I get it, that there are people out there who $1 or $2 a month, it's getting loud over here, I head back the other way. There are people out there for which $1 or $2 a month is perhaps a burden, and I apologize for that. I did recently increase the minimum subscription fee for Crowdsource the Truth's exclusive content to $2 per month. I did this because I'm trying to create a new business model for delivering independent news to viewers. We've seen that we cannot rely on advertisers, we cannot rely on Google, we cannot rely on, you know, this model that's existed since the invention of television, where the end user, the viewer, gets the content for free, for no personal cash outlay, in exchange for watching commercials from advertisers. The problem with that model is the advertisers get to decide what you see. So if you like that and you want that, there are plenty of advertiser-driven channels that you can watch, but Crowdsource the Truth is not doing that. Crowdsource the Truth is sponsored by you, the viewer. And you see, what social engineers don't like about that is that it keeps me free of financial influence from somebody with a lot of money who wants to come along and pay me to do something or say something. Who might be susceptible to that? Well, you know, people who are taking ads may not even know, but they are influenced by this, because if someone threatens to stop advertising, that might influence their decision to do something. So let me get back on topic here, the social engineers. Somebody sent me a video the other day. Apparently George Webb made some comments about Andre Taggart, said that Andre Taggart was doing something with the BlackBerries that Imran Awan left at his house, that Taggart's wife was a cryptologist or something. That is totally untrue. People may recall that I interviewed Andre Taggart. His wife was there at the house when I was there. I saw her. I saw them interact. She's a nice lady. They're obviously in love, obviously married. She was cooking dinner while I was there. And I remember Andre saying that his wife was a corpsman. And I remembered that because I thought it was funny at the moment that he said it. And I said to myself, she's actually a core woman. And then I looked up what a corpsman was, which I should know because my father was a doctor in the Navy. She's a medical person. She's not a crypt. George doesn't know what he's talking about, and he speaks with confidence, so he convinces people of a lot of things. He said a lot of things that aren't true. A lot of things about me that aren't true. A lot of things about a lot of things that aren't true. So I just want to clear the air there. George has this strange tendency to be gravitating towards witnesses to Imran Awan's crimes and doing and saying things that upset those witnesses and make them not want to participate in any kind of conversation about any of this stuff. Like Laurel Everly, like, I mean, you know, how would you feel if somebody went and accused your wife of stealing information and working with Imran Awan to do whatever it is with BlackBerries? And I think people sent this to me because George was saying something about Michael Flynn, who he seems convinced is up to no good. I don't know what to say about that, folks, but it's interesting to me that George is connected to Robert David Steele. George's brother is trying to intervene on this fake lawsuit. George brought me to Oki Marshall Richards. Oki Marshall Richards and George told me there was radiological material on the Maersk Memphis, presented me with a litany of information that was intended to convince me that this was a crucial threat to public safety and we better do something or we'd be guilty of misprision of treason. And then his brother and the guy he had lunch with 2 days before, Robert David Steele, go on a 2-year-long campaign to sue me for $18 million in the case of Robert David Steele, $3.5 million in the case of George's brother. Now we've got Dean Fougere writing letters seeking sanctions of $25,000. We've got Robert David Steele's lawyer seeking sanctions because he says, I am vexatiously increasing the proceedings by accusing them of being in a conspiracy to harass me, to defame me, to defund my operation. That is what they want. Make no mistake. They want Crowdsource the Truth to go off. And I just wanted to stay on to keep reporting on things that a lot of other people don't want reported on. So if you want that, it's critically important over these next 6 months that if you're not already a sponsor of Crowdsource the Truth, you got to become one. And if you want to see the shows, it's all you can do. $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever works. If you're buying a coffee in the morning, if you buy a newspaper before you get on the bus or whatever, you're paying more for that than you would be. It's more than $2 a month. So I apologize to those who feel that $2 a month is too much. But again, lots of free content, lots of other shows to watch. Please don't send me messages asking me to not do this. This is the business model that I'm doing. And the other thing that I wanted to announce is that starting today, when you go to crowdsourcethetruth.com or crowdsourcethetruth.org, it's no longer going to redirect you to the Facebook page and the Facebook group. It's going to direct you right to a sponsorship location where you can choose to sponsor the legal efforts or the show or whatever you want. If you want Crowdsource the Truth to continue, please recognize that that costs money to do. Even without a lawyer, I'm going to need to travel to Virginia to participate in this conference. It's 6 hours from New York. That's a train ride, that's a hotel. Hopefully I can make it back in one day, but that's a lot of travel. That's a lot of wear on me. That's what these guys are trying to do. I think that people may not realize how remarkably challenging it is to keep this show going while answering all these legal documents that are showing up at my door literally daily. So, I get a few emails from people here or there, oh, the sound wasn't good or whatever. I don't know if people understand how challenging it is to travel around the country and travel around the world doing these remote productions with no assistance, no other people, just me, tech, talent, everything. It's not easy. So if you enjoy watching, even if you enjoy watching so you can put in crappy comments, if you want the show to continue, please become a sponsor. Go to patreon.com/crowdsource the truth or subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth or crowdsourcethetruth.com and become a sponsor. Send money. Need your assistance in fighting these social engineers who think they can do whatever they want and then intimidate people with lawsuits, fake lawsuits, waste the resources of the court, the taxpayers. These guys are a public nuisance. I need your help in defeating them. Please go to crowdsourcethetruth.com and become a sponsor. Thank you for watching and have a great 4th of July.